Well, it's Halloween night, and those damn New York Jets won't die. They won't die. They refuse. They're like zombies. And I guess can you call somebody a zombie after losing 5 games in a row? Maybe not. I gotta find another term. But I thought tonight was gonna be the night that the New York Jets were gonna go away, get away from my life, all our football lives. Please go away. You guys are pretenders. You're frauds. You're a big disappointment. But you know who's a bigger pretender disappointment? The Houston Texans. My Houston Texans couldn't get that hammer down and get that nail down on the final nail in the coffin for the New York Jets. So now we got to talk about Aaron Rodgers leading a playoff team because you know who they play next? The Arizona Cardinals, the Colts, the Seahawks, the Jaguars, the Dolphins. Oh, get ready. If you have Aaron Rodgers fatigue, they're gonna hype up this team for the next 5 weeks, and they'll probably lose to the Dolphins and the Jaguars because that's what they do. We're gonna talk about it. You could tell I'm already annoyed here, but the New York Jets are gonna be alive and well for the next few weeks. But yeah, I'll say this: Garrett Wilson looked good. That was an amazing touchdown. They got Devontae Adams going, so I'm not gonna be totally negative on the Jets there. If you're a Jets fan, please stick around because we will answer your fantasy football questions. We're here for you. This is Gilberto's hour, but also your hour here on Heelberto's hour. I'm gonna keep saying it. So fantasy football, best bets, anything you want to talk about in the NFL. You want to talk Chargers, Rams, obviously the Jets and the Texans. Please don't be shy. Drop a comment. But first, an introduction. Victor Javier Corona, you must be happy because the Dodgers are World Series champions. Did you wake up
Oh
feeling
yeah.
like a champion?
Oh yeah, I'm super happy right now. It's been I kind of feel bad for our viewers and listeners of House of Horns because I'm sure some people saw that we weren't in a great mood because they were down to the Yankees 5-0, but as soon
Yeah.
as we got off recording, they came back and won the World Series, so that was pretty cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, it sounds, Gilbert, like you're starting to come to my side with the Texans, and we'll get into it. Yeah, it was an ugly first half, Gilbert. It's probably the worst half I've seen all season. But yeah, and that was a great second half by the Jets, but it might be a little bit too late. But we'll see. But happy to be here, Gilbert.
Yeah, the part of me, that little small part of me that foolishly picked the Texans wants to say, well, no Nico Collins, no Stephon Diggs. Will Anderson Jr. was in and out of the lineup. Come on, cut him a break. But no, you're right, Victor. This team is lucky to even have 6 wins. They keep winning in ugly fashion. They got lucky when Sean McDermott made probably one of the worst mistakes a
Yep.
coach could do, besides Matt Eberflus last week. So all the wins that they have is twice against the Colts. How we know the Colts are mediocre. They beat the Patriots, so the Texans haven't shown us anything. I get they were banged up. They were on the road. That's why Vegas made the Jets the favorite today. The Jets were not supposed to be the favorites, but Vegas knows everything. JJ Watt was annoyed on the Pat McAfee show, saying, "You got to
Yeah.
be kidding me." I wonder what he's thinking right now. He
Well,
must
he
be.
already apologized.
Oh, did
He
he?
already went out and tweeted it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That just even makes it even better. But I check out my column at
He said
si.com.
he's gonna take some cayenne pepper and water before
Yeah.
bed.
Yeah, I definitely I wrote a joke about it in my story. I'm really curious to see because they're probably editing my story right now. I was very I went off on the Texas and the Jets. I want to know how many jokes made it in there. I had a lot of
Yeah.
Halloween puns, by the way, Victor, which I'm sure you'll
Yeah.
enjoy. And I did
Mhm.
mention a couple pepper jokes in there too. So we'll see what gets in there. But yeah, that's why Vegas had the Jets as the favorites. They were a desperate team. I'll give them that. They are the home team on a short week. We saw
Yep.
last week when the Rams beat the Vikings. So, all that did help out in their favor. But the thing that I'm so annoyed about, Victor, and we can have a discussion right here, like,
Yeah.
I know you're saying maybe it's a little too late. I'm with you, but when you look at that cupcake schedule, and but I'm not saying they're gonna rip off 6 games in a row, but when you got the Cardinals and the Colts and the Seahawks, that's three phony pretenders right there. Those are all Texans-like teams, right? And then you get the
Right.
Jaguars and the Dolphins. So you probably went at staring at 2-7 record to possibly going 8-6 before Christmas if they handle business. But Victor, you and I know they're gonna find a way to screw it up, right?
Yep.
And the thing about that, to end my point, it's going to be annoying because for the next couple of weeks, they might win 1 or 2 more games, but we're going to talk about them. They're better than the Bills, and that's going to be the annoying part, Vic.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate thing, Gilbert, is that what makes you or what makes anybody think that they can, rip off a bunch of wins here. They've been so inconsistent, and that's been part of the problem. This defense hasn't been good. I think I look more towards the Texans, Gilbert, as the problem, as opposed to the Jets just being good tonight. Yeah, it was great to see Devontae Adams catch his first touchdown from Aaron Rodgers for the first time since January 24th, 2021. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been almost 3 years. Um, I My biggest concern here, Gilbert, is 8 sacks, a career high for CJ Stroud, and 10 quarterback hits against the Jets. I've been saying this. I talked about it a couple of weeks ago in terms of how easily people get caught up in instant success with these quarterbacks, and they forget to protect them by building that offensive line. That offensive line on that interior, Gilbert, is just a man. Bobby Slowick, the offensive coordinator, has regressed as a play caller. I stayed close to on this game with a lot of the beat reporters from the Texans, and they were all just slamming this Texans teams. And you look at the next couple games, Gilbert, it doesn't get any better. They get the Lions. They're probably going to get destroyed by the Lions on Sunday Night Football, and then they get the Cowboys. Maybe they win that game, but we don't know. It's just that, and that's my I guess my engagement question: Are the Houston Texans in trouble after this loss to the Jets?
Yeah, that's a good question. And again, don't be shy. Ask us fantasy football questions, anything you want to talk about in terms of the NFL, go ahead, or even pop culture, or even those Dodgers, go ahead. And real quick, Athir, Brett, Jorge, thank you for being in the comments. We'll get to you guys in a second, but don't be shy. Keep asking us questions. And yeah, that's a good question from you, Victor. Are the Houston Texans in trouble after the loss to the Jets? And I think they are. And then even just putting the schedule aside, like they have a bad offensive line. They're very depleted with the injuries there on wide receiver. Tank Dell is not a number one wide receiver. Everybody keeps thinking John Metch is going to be, a playmaker. He hasn't been that. Uh, I think there was a report that maybe the Texans wouldn't make a trade because they have depth there and they feel comfortable when Nico Collins come back. Yeah, right. Go ahead and try that with just Nico Collins getting on the targets and then Tank Dell and Mechie and Woods doing nothing, or just keep feeding the football to Joe Mixon. Yeah, sure, keep trying that and giving him 40 carries because that's really working out for you, Bobby Slowick. So defensively, hopefully Will Anderson Jr. is okay. Defensively, they're better, but if he's banged up, you could tell the Jets got better when he was out of the lineup. So that they
Oh
caught a
yeah,
break there. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm starting to lose faith in the Texans. It might not even be as good as the Steelers, and I don't even like the Steelers. So that tells me how much I'm starting to panic on them. But yeah, I keep going back to the Jets because I'm so annoyed that people are going to talk about them like they're good or pretend like they're better than the Bills or whatever. But in terms of the Texans, I don't worry about their playoff spot. Once they get to the playoffs, I won't care about them. I don't think they're going to do anything. But it's just they
right.
have that 2 game, I guess, sort of a 2 game lead and a tiebreaker over the
Well,
Colts.
the Sunday night game now gets interesting because if the Colts beat the Vikings, then it becomes
Well,
a division again,
That's
Gilbert.
why Shane Steichen did that move. He knows Joe Flacco is a better quarterback, and he sees that the Texans are struggling. They have injury issues, so maybe they don't make a move there. I think maybe it'll be a little tough, but there's a lot of football left there. And again, it's tough to see how the future looks like. But the Texans could maybe turn it around. I don't know. It's hard for me to see it. But this one thing's for sure with the Jets, they're going to find a way to screw it up, even though they have a cupcake schedule. But we don't have to spend too much time on this game. I am very, very annoyed because the Texans couldn't handle business. I think all of us at SI.com picked the Texans to win, so we look like fools right there, just like JJ Watt. But yeah, don't be shy. Ask us fantasy football questions. We got 3 games we're going to break down. We're going to share our best bets, but we're here to have good conversations, good discussions. And also, happy Halloween. That was not
Yes.
a nightmare game. That was actually a real game that everybody saw on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, it was. And I just want to get to some of these comments. I want to make sure, since we were saying we have a deer, he says he's got a question. If we're going to talk about the Chargers, yes, we will.
Okay.
They are actually on my best bets. Again, I'm going for a third straight week, so we'll talk about them a deer. So stay tuned. Brett Gardner says the only thing that could next last year worse is Brandon Staley. Brandon Staley's still taking strays
Man,
out there from people, man. It's just crazy, but I understand. Yeah, and Adir said Puka left practice early today with a knee
yeah,
injury.
that's tough.
It sounds like from Adam Schefter it's not serious, but man, whenever it comes from the Rams, I never
Mhm.
believe them just because we've been burned a couple of times. And so it'll be I'll we'll have you guys covered on House of Horns there if you're a Rams fan, and yeah, make sure you tune in. We'll have the post game show after the game, and we'll see if that happens. Nino Pena says I got offered Garrett Wilson for Pickens and Chase Brown before tonight's game. I told him I wait on it.
uh, I guess Gary Wilson did look good. I get that, but Nino, I don't know if I trust the Jets and Aaron Rodgers to do it every week. But uh, maybe for this trade, I guess I would do it, right, Vic? I know Pickens is playing well, but he's also kind of on a clunky offense, and I don't know about Chase Brown. I think I'm off that train. I don't think he's gonna do
I
anything.
mean, I
But
have Chase Brown, Gilbert, but he's like touchdown dependent. They can't run the ball for anything there. That offensive line isn't great, and we'll get into that matchup with the Raiders because yeah, there's a lot not to like about that offensive line, and you're pretty much just hoping that they air it out with that offense, and then you get close to the goal line and he scores a touchdown.
is it just as simple as taking the 2 for 1, or I guess keeping the two guys, or going for Garrett Wilson? What do you think, Vic?
Well, I have Garrett Wilson, and he's been balling. Like he's been a target. I mean, he's been getting a bunch of targets from Aaron Rodgers. I thought it might be a problem with Devontae Adams coming, but he's actually getting a bunch of targets. I think he's been averaging about 20 fantasy points since Adams came over. So if you have Garrett Wilson, keep him. Otherwise, if you're able to trade for him, I go and get him.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. He has been productive, even during these last few games here. So yeah, go ahead and do that. And it looks good, but we'll see if this person will keep that offer on the table though. But yeah, what else we got, Victor?
Yeah, we have Brett Gardner. He wants to know any moves the Chargers may make. We were waiting to get a look at some of the Cleveland players this Sunday.
I'll let you handle this one first, Victor, while I answer this message, because work is calling real quick. But go ahead and answer that one, Vic.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I would assume that they would. We've seen already from the Chargers and their GM that they've made they're going to do everything they can to improve this roster. We've seen it already from their GM, and I would assume that they're going to continue to do it because, um, they need to improve, especially offensively. Defensively, they've been good. One of the things I've been kind of disappointed with the Chargers, they earlier in the season they devoted themselves to being a running team, and they've kind of changed that. For some reason they haven't been able to run the ball as well, and now right after the bye week, it seems like they realize, hey, look, we have a really good quarterback, we should use that quarterback. And that's been great to see because now we're starting to see Herbert like what he looked like when he was under Steichen. I don't know what do you have to say about that, Gilbert?
Yeah, I like that, and I think it's been Joe Reedy, our good friend of the show, who's been tweeting out some stats about Justin Herbert, who's quietly, having a good season and getting better every week. So you're right, Victor. They are changing the scheme. I know people who were pretty frustrated with Greg Roman are starting to think, hey, maybe there's something here. But again, it was just one game in terms of one victory against the Saints there, because the Saints are not good. So maybe you want to see how they do. But in terms of moves, obviously maybe a wide receiver could help, but I like Lad McConkey. I want to see if Quentin Johnson could do something. If it doesn't cost you a lot, maybe obviously try to get a Darius Slayton, or I don't know about Adam Thielen. He's a little older there, but there's some options there, and I'm drawing a blank here. But I know a lot of wide receivers have been on the move right now. But definitely look into that. And then speaking about this Browns team here that Brett brings up, I know Greg Newsome the second, the cornerback who was drafted, I think in 2021 in the first round. He could play inside outside. Might be available there. I know the Browns are starting to give up on that secondary. I don't know if they'll give up on Denzel Ward. That'd be a big get. I doubt it. I think is it Martin Emerson could be another guy too. So if you need DB help, maybe that's a team to talk to. Uh, Jeremiah Uzo Koromora, did I get that right? I don't think he's on the trading block. He just got an extension. Miles Garrett definitely won't be, but if you're the Chargers, you definitely want to look, or even like a guy like Elijah Moore. There you go, a wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Could be an option. He did decent last week with Jameis Winston. I want to say he got 80 something yards. Obviously, we know Cedric Tillman did okay last week, but there are players on that Browns team you could maybe talk to, before or after the game.
Yeah. And we'll get more into this matchup between the Chargers and the Browns, as we said later on in our best bets. Jorge Rodriguez, shout out to you, says McConkey, Drake London, Marvin Harrison, Say Flowers. Out of those four, what two should I start?
Let's see. Well, a quick story on Marvin Harrison Jr. Rage benched him. Is that a thing? Last week, and he went off, so he got the wake up call. By the way,
Yeah,
uh, I think I will go with Marvin. I know he's playing the Bears. That could be a
Bears.
tough one, but I don't know. Drake London, I thought he's gonna go off, and he's been kind of quiet. Zay Flowers could be a hit or miss. I'm definitely on McConkey train. I know it's the Browns, but I know it's tough matches, but give me McConkey and MHJ. What do you
And
say, Vic?
Ward might not play
Ah,
either.
there you go.
Gilbert,
There you go.
he's yeah. And then you have Koromoa might not play. I think he's also hurt. So I mean,
There you
yeah,
go.
this might be a week to kind of go and go with McConkey here. We'll see. I mean, I know there's not a lot of there's not. I've been listening to a lot of people, and they're not huge on McConkey. So, like in terms of fantasy, they just said it was a 1 week thing, but he
Oh,
needs to have
okay.
another big game. So we'll see. Um, just kind of going through some of these comments here. So Brett Garner says, "Surprise, they didn't go after Deontay. That was for nothing to the Ravens."
Yeah,
Um,
that was just a pick swap. But, I am also surprised, and that's why I gave the Panthers a bad grade in my story, because why not just hold out for more receiver needy teams to get desperate and give you something better? So yeah, I'm scratching my head at that one too.
Yeah, and then one more here from Nino Pena says, "Really hope Lions pull through on those Smith trade rumors."
Am I
Is
drawing
it
a blank here?
Sedari? Is it
Oh yeah,
Sedari?
yeah. It could be Darius Smith, but he said Nino said trade rumors. Well, who's the other Smith? Are we blanking here?
Yeah, that's the only one I can think of. Just because they really need a pass rusher.
Hmm.
That's what I would have thought of.
Yeah, well, I'll try to think of another Smith. But yeah, let us know, Nino, in the comments. But yeah.
All right, let's get to our three games. But before we do that, there's two teams on a bye this week, guys. So make sure you set your lineups accordingly. The 49ers and the Steelers are on a bye this week. All right, our top three matchups of the week. We're going to start off with our headliner, and that's one of the teams we just talked about, the Lions and Packers. Gilbert, the Lions are 2.5 point favorites. It depends on where you see it, because I think you had it at 3.5. In the over under is 48.5 at the Green Bay Packers. Where do you want to start with this matchup?
Yeah, let me double check real quick, because these things are moving very quickly. And yeah, it's weird because I know you logged it in maybe like an hour before me, and then I went and it was plus 3.5. Now it's again plus 2.5. I think people really like that number, Victor, for
Oh
the
yeah,
Packers plus 3.5. So the line went back down again. So that is pretty wild, unless I didn't do a proper refresh. But
yeah,
but think about it this way, and this is why I like the Packers. And maybe I am late to the party, Victor. I know we're going to be in disagreement here, but last week I liked the Commanders because you were getting plus 2.5, and hey, you're
right.
ahead of the game if Jaden Daniels plays. That's what happens. So what about this week? Maybe Jordan Love does play, and then you get 3.5 points at home. And then even if Malik Willis plays, you feel okay. Maybe not the best, but I'm going to take a chance here with the points to take the Packers. I don't feel as good about it, by the way. It was plus 2.5. I don't know if you're going to counter for me, Victor, because when I logged it in, I'm being
Yeah,
honest here.
no,
It
that's
was
what we
plus three
say
and a
when
half.
we see it. That's how we see it.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a couple numbers in our best bets that are different
yeah, I saw.
because of that reason. Yeah.
So yeah, when I went to the ticket counter, I got some good numbers here. So I'll keep it here. But right now it is minus 2.5 for the Lions. It's a good bet there. So yeah, in terms of sports betting, I like just taking the chance here on Jordan Love possibly playing and then getting spotted 3.5 points at home. But it's gonna be a fun matchup. The one thing I'm disappointed about, Victor, is like, what if he's not 100% Jordan Love, and then what if we get Malik Willis and it's a total domination of the Lions? Like, what did we learn about this game? And I feel it's gonna feel a little empty. Like, yeah, the Lions beat up on a 50% Jordan Love, or even with the Packers, I'm like, I'm still gonna like them because they didn't have Jordan Love healthy. I think they're still a good team when he's healthy. So I don't like that feeling, but maybe Jordan Love is healthy and we get an
Mhm.
exciting game. But I want to hear your thoughts. I guess for you, why do you think the Lions are going to cover and win this one? Like, do you see a total difference here of the Lions being much better, like on a different
Yeah.
level? To me, I feel like maybe they are, but there's something about this Packers that I really like.
So I'm gonna tell you the last time that the Packers and the Lions played was on Thanksgiving Day, Gilbert, and that was when we were Megan and I were driving back from our wedding afterwards from Oklahoma, and I remember watching this game, and I was really impressed with what I saw from the Packers because the Lions went in. It was Thanksgiving Day, and the Packers just blew the doors off the Lions, and it was at Ford Field, which was an impressive win. I think the difference though for me in this game, Gilbert, and part of the reason why it's only 2.5 as opposed to it being a bigger line is the fact that the Lions are having to play outside, and we know the numbers how much different they are between a Garrett Goff who is at home or indoors as opposed
Yeah.
to playing outside. Now, if this game was later on in December, I would have gone with the Packers here. You also they might be without two of their offensive linemen here for the Green Bay Packers, and Josh Jacobs hasn't practiced, so that's another thing. Plus, you add the whole thing with Jordan Love. That's what has me worried about the Packers. I think for the Lions, if they're going to win this game, they just need to not turn the ball over. And that one of the things that I looked at that game last week against the Titans was the fact that the Titans moved the ball. The reason it was a blowout was mostly because of the mistakes by the Titans offensively and special teams. That defense is really good for the Titans, and so I I think this game, if the Packers are able to keep it close with that defense, then I'll be a little bit nervous. I just don't see it, Gilbert, especially offensively, if they're missing some of those guys. But I guess the concerning thing is too, Gilbert, is that Matt LaFleur has, he should win Coach of the Year. We'll see if he does, but the coaching job that he's done this season has been outstanding. If you're a Packers fan, you should be happy whether or not they play Jordan Love or Willis because they'll have something they'll have something really good in terms of how they approach that Detroit Lions defense.
Yeah, the one thing, Victor, that I am a little concerned about the Lions. Obviously, they're a juggernaut offensively, and they really put it
Mhm.
to the Titans. But I want to see if the way they play without Aiden Hutchinson is kind of a fluky thing, and then maybe when you run into a team like the Packers who could put up a bunch of points on you with a bunch of weapons, maybe that's when you really need an edge rusher like Aiden Hutchinson. So that's something I wanted to see here. But again, this team doesn't seem like they're going to be at full strength. But I know they played well against the Vikings, but the Vikings still put up 28, 29 points on them without Aiden Hutchinson. So that's probably the one weakness here, and we're like Nino alluded to, that's the one thing I want to see them make a move at the trade deadline is get an edge rusher, not to settle. I know they're playing better. I like Brian Branch. They have a lot of playmakers all over the field, but that edge rusher is going to be very crucial when games are tight. You need a crucial stop, and maybe that's something that could maybe hurt them in this Packers game. But I'm taking a chance here with the plus 3.5 just because it's maybe value and opportunity with the home team with maybe the star quarterback coming back. But I would not be surprised if the Lions are on a different level come Sunday.
Yeah, and like you said, also, I mean, if they're missing that many guys, they're not gonna get the credit that you know that they should get. The Lions, I'm saying, but that's just the way it happens. But yeah, Jorge says the Packers are winning. He
Oh,
says
okay.
the Lions should trade for Joey Bosa.
I wouldn't put it past the Chargers to be honest, man. Maybe they could make some a deal there to help out both teams.
And then Jorge says, "F yeah, Gilbert taking them chances." So there you
Yeah,
go, going with the
let me guess, Jorge, you're trolling me a little bit because Dan and Diego went over my picks for the week, and I had like maybe 5 upsets. Oh yeah, you guys definitely laugh at my Jaguars pick. I had one ridiculous pick because it's the NFL and I like to have fun. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I'm with you. All right, moving on to our two-tier games. We're gonna start off with Bears at Cardinals here. The Bears at the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals are 1.5 point favorites, and the over/under is 45.5. Where do you want to start here?
I'll start with the Cardinals, and I like them. I'm not gonna take a victory lap or even a pat on the back because I still don't trust them. Yeah, they beat the Chargers. Yeah, they beat the Dolphins, but
They beat the
I,
49ers.
yeah, they beat the 49ers, but the 49ers they're different. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they'll get better, and that victory looks better in December. But I don't know. I just don't know if I trust them just yet. And the thing I say that the reason why I'm saying that is because for all the dumb mistakes that the Bears defense did, they're still a good defense, and I don't know if Kyler Murray could beat a good defense. Yeah, they got by the Chargers, but it was a very close game, and he struggled against that defense. Even Marvin Harrison Jr. struggled against that defense. I thought the Dolphins defense was always overrated, even though they had some good numbers with the stats there. But I don't know. I'm just not a big believer in Kyler Murray. I think he's very talented. It's just consistency and stacking victories. I don't know if I'm there yet. And obviously, I had both of these teams in the playoffs. So I got to pick somebody here, right? So
I was gonna say you win either way here, Gilbert.
yeah, yeah. So I'm hoping that both of them find the way here and to make it. I doubt it, especially the Bears being in the NFC North. But I don't know if I buy Kyler Murray beating a tough Bears defense. Yeah, they're dumb coaching wise and dumb mistakes at the end, but Jaden Daniels, I know he had a broken rib or whatever it was. He really struggled last week before that Hail Mary. So we've seen this Bears defense really annoy and agitate a lot of good quarterbacks. So Kyler Murray, go ahead and prove me wrong and do something here. But that's something I really want to see between. Yeah, and I do like that the passing game came alive. You finally had
Oh yeah.
a good passing attack where it wasn't just, hey, Connor, can you help us? Kyler Murray, can you use your legs? And when we need a pass, here you go, Trey McBride. It felt like everybody contributed, MHJ and Michael Wilson. So let's see if you could prove me wrong here because I am hesitant about these Cardinals, Vic.
Yeah, and I'll start off with the Cardinals offense, and I thought it was I got to give a shout out to their OC Drew Pensine because you know I finally saw a something of a passing game, and that's been my biggest thing with him as an offensive corner. He's great designing, running. It has a good he has a good approach in terms of a running game with Connor, and I think in this game, as you said, if they're going to win this game, it comes down to their passing. Being able to get uh, Marvin Harrison Jr. open and McBride too. I mean, you have two legit pass catchers there, so use them. Um, I want to see them stretch the field against the Bears because that's how you're going to beat them. We saw that. Sometimes they can get a little bit lackadaisical. You're going to be able to run this on this Bears defense in through the middle there, but it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to be able to move the ball on this team. So he's I like you said, I want to see Kyler Murray. I thought one of the things that he really did well against the Chargers was he ran the ball when he needed to, and he got them those first downs. And it was tough sledding against the Chargers. I think he's going to have to do the same thing. And then I'll go to the other side and with the other quarterback, Caleb Williams. I think this is a big game for him. He looked good in that last drive, setting up the touchdown. He used his
Hmm.
legs. He needs to do more of that. They're gonna need that from him. And I like you said, I think it's a prove it game for both of these quarterbacks. And I think um, we'll come out of this game saying, hey, that we finally got what we wanted to see from either one of these quarterbacks.
I'm taking the Bears. Who are you taking, Victor?
I'm gonna take the Cardinals. I think
Okay.
that's who I went with in our pick'em. So I'm with it, and Jorge says the Cardinals as well too.
All
All
right.
right, our second of our two tier games takes us to the Colts and the Vikings. Here, we got the news this week that the Colts made a quarterback change, and you talked about it on the Four Compas and what you thought of the Colts benching Anthony Richardson. And then you have a Vikings team who's coming off of two straight losses. So, where do you want to kick things off here with this matchup?
The Colts are starting to become a team that you always like to take the points with because they're always like +4 or +5, and like nobody takes them seriously, but we all kind of respect them, right? And I took them last week to play with pride and lose to the Texans. I got
Yeah.
them a +5. And now I really thought about taking them +5 against the Vikings here, and I get Joe Flacco's better. I think the line was like +6.5 when Richardson was playing, so this moved down a bit when Flacco came in. But I don't know if I buy the Colts, Vic. One thing I do want to crap on people crapping on Shane Steichen that he's not a good coach because he can't fix Richardson. Get out of here. There's just sometimes it's just a bad quarterback. It's like he helped out
Yeah.
Justin Herbert, he helped out Jalen Hurts, he helped out in the back end of the career Philip Rivers. Like he's a good coach. He knows how to call a game. We even saw Joe Flacco balling out with his coaching scheme for
I
2 games.
mean, look at the Eagles without him, man. I mean,
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, even Justin Herbert hasn't been good in a couple years. I mean, yeah, he's still good, but he hasn't been to the level that you've seen him under Steichen, both of those quarterbacks.
Yeah, so I don't get this nonsense. I think this is more on Anthony Richardson not doing his part here. But I can't take the Colts this week. I know they helped me out last week. They've helped me out actually a couple times in this scenario where they're plus dogs here. But and 5 points is a lot too, especially in the NFL. But I don't know. I know I give the Vikings a lot of crap, I'm trying to pretend like I'm enjoying this 2 game losing streak, but I'm not. I think they're a good team. I respect them, and they're at home. They have 10 days rest. They're probably really annoyed from the 2 losses there to the Lions and the Rams. So I think they're gonna take it out on the Colts here, and then maybe it's a shootout, but I could totally see the Vikings winning by a touchdown at the end of the day. So I will take the Vikings here just because I do think they're a better team. They're at home, they're well rested, and they're annoyed.
Oh yeah, and I think it's a bad matchup for the Colts here. I think had they stayed with Anthony Richardson here, he might have presented some problems for them.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at the two offenses that they went up against, the Lions and the Rams, they were bad matchups for what Brian Flores likes to do. I mean, if you have a good running game and you're able to run the ball on on this Vikings defense, then he can set up things where he can, set up his simulated defense there, simulated pressure, I should say.
Yeah.
And
Good
so,
point. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so with Joe Flacco as a statue back there, he's just gonna feast here. I'm with you. I like the Vikings, and then kind of just going back in terms of what you just talked about. you know, I know I keep pounding this and then the whole instant success thing too. I know we didn't see that with Anthony Richardson, but I think when you have, everybody picked, not everybody, but a majority of people picked the Colts to make the playoffs because they saw what this team did with Minshew, when Gardner Minshew last year, and
Hmm.
you would just assume, well, Anthony Richardson is going to be able to step in there. And I think when he had the whole tap out thing, you're just you're on the verge of losing your team, and you just can't have that right now. As I said, sometimes I you want to keep a young guy, but when you do stuff like that, it's detrimental to the rest of the team, and veteran guys are not gonna they're like I said, when you're a professional, it's hard for dudes to look at someone that young and be like, "Hey, man, like I need to, I need to feed my family too here, and I'm looking towards my future here. And if I can't win with you, then it's just hard for those veterans to look at Steichen and be okay with it. So I understood
Yeah.
why they went to Flacco here.
Yeah, I get the whole losing respect in the locker room, and maybe I shouldn't say. I think it's more like, hey, you gotta maybe earn my trust again, and because the thing that really hurt him is that Joe Flacco is clearly better than Anthony Richardson. You're clearly in the race for a postseason spot. The Texans are hurting right now. What are you doing here with a quarterback that's shooting 44% from the field here? Or, I know I'm stealing basketball terms there, but whatever, passing completion. But the thing that I think that might save him at the end of the day to get another opportunity, Victor, is this guy's plays hard. Like he does too much. He wants to be the hero. He wants to
Hmm.
put you on his back. He wants to lift you. And in a way, I think teammates could appreciate that, but you're doing too much, man. You're like, you
Yeah.
got to calm down, man. Like you got to chill out. You're making mistakes here. We get that. We get that you want to do too much here, and you want to help people, but then that's why you get tired because you're doing too much. Take it easy. Learn from the sideline. And one more point here before I move on, Victor. Uh, I'm not saying CJ Stroud has been playing this poorly to bring this up, but CJ Stroud's okay because he balled out his rookie year. If he was
Hmm.
playing poorly and like right now in the same way his rookie year, we might be talking about the first 3 quarterbacks in the 2023 draft being benched. But CJ Stroud by himself a lot of time for being a baller last year, and he's had some good moments this year. But it does help out to get into a fast start because these teams are not patient at all. Even though we're in a year where we're seeing Jared Goff and Sam Darnold play well.
Yeah, and I've been wanting to ask you guys this question in terms of, we see it every 10 years or so, Gilbert, where we see a superstar quarterback win the Super Bowl. And it'll be interesting. We might get one this season, with if it's Jared Goff
Yeah.
or maybe even a Sam Darnold or one of those guys where, and we've seen it every decade. There's one of those quarterbacks that ends up breaking through with either a really good defense or just a really good team. So that'll be something to kind of keep an eye on the rest of the season, Gilbert. All right. Just to let everybody know, make sure you send us your fantasy questions. But up next, Gilbert, is our betting locks of the week for week 9. Just to kind of go over what we've done last week. I actually went 4-0 because one of them was a push, but you gave me the points there. So I was able to make up 10 points, and
You went
you got,
5 for 5.
yes, 5 for
Nice.
5.
Wow.
So, and then you went 3 out of 5, no, 2 out of
I
5.
got 2 out of 5.
Yeah, you got 2 out of 5. So I was able to inch a little bit closer. I was
Damn.
down by 20. Now I'm only down by 10. So made up
Yeah.
some ground there. But let people know how we do our betting locks of the week.
Yeah, so we have our 5 best bets here, and the one that we share first is the one that we have most faith in. Those are worth 5 points, and then the next one is 4 points, 3 points, 2 points, 1 point, and so on. And then we tally all the points for the week and the whole season, and that's the points that we had have 71 points for the season. Victor has 61. Yeah, he made up ground because it could happen on a quick week where he goes 5-0 and I go 0-5. So these points do matter. Luckily, I got 2 right to still have a little bit of a cushion here. But my 20-point lead is now down to 10. So let's see what we got this week.
All right. Before we give you yours, we got a fantasy question. Travis
Okay.
Kelsey or Kyle Pitts this week?
Uh, the Falcons are playing the Cowboys. I want to say Kyle Pitts is healthy, right? I know he was dealing with something, but he should be fine. Yeah, it's just the Cowboys defense is not good, and I'm starting to buy in a little more to Kyle Pitts. I get Kelsey's doing a little more, but that offense is not good. Jorge, I know you know that very well, but and just to know you, they're going to win the game. They're going to beat the Buccaneers, but they don't do it in a good offensive fashion in terms of fantasy football, Vic.
Yeah, and the Bucks are really bad. And then I think I saw there's a storm that might happen in Kansas City on Monday night. So it might
Wow.
be there might be rain there. So I would play it safe with Kyle Pitts if I were you, Jorge. But I mean, and also he had his first good game
Hmm.
of the year, and he did it against the Raiders, who can't guard a tight end this season. I mean, every tight end's gone off against the Raiders this season. So, yeah, I
Cool.
mean,
I can't even name the Bengals tight end. I know they're playing the Bengals, so that's why I'm thinking about
yeah.
it.
Well, it's it's what's his name that was with the Dolphins.
Oh yeah, yeah, Gasecki. Is that
Yeah,
really
there
their
you go,
number
Mike
one
Gesicki.
starter? Yeah, I think he was like
Yeah,
their backup, but okay, all right.
yeah, yeah. And then we got one more here: J.K. Dobbins, David Montgomery, Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb. With what two should I start? I think he's just flexing here.
I don't know. These are some good running backs. I know Nick Chubb scored last week, but I still got to see a little more for him. Uh, I I really like Montgomery every week. They're playing the Packers. I like Taylor. J.K. Dobbins could have an easy day against the banged up, like you mentioned, banged up Browns defense, Victor. So the first three, maybe you can't go wrong with any, but obviously big names are Taylor and Montgomery.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm those are the 2. I mean, Montgomery and Jonathan Taylor there. You can't go wrong. He's there. Either ones you choose though, Jorge, I think you're in a good spot. He says, but Athier says my Tedden's on a bye, but I have Goddard. So
Okay.
we'll see how Goddard does. All right,
No,
Gilbert,
I thought the Eagles are playing the Jaguars, but
y-
but Goddard might be hurt. I don't know. I got to keep track.
yeah. All right, your first one is your number 5 here. It's the Bears +1 against the Cardinals.
Yeah, this is a week where I didn't really have a very strong five, so I said F it. I'll take a pick 'em game here, and again, I don't know if I trust Kyler Murray against this Bears defense. I know they were knuckleheads last week in Washington, but Give me the Bears for a pick 'em here for number 5. And the Cardinals defense is okay, but they're not the best. Maybe Caleb Williams has a good day here, so we can't forget about that. All right, what's the next one that I had here, Vic?
You
Uh,
had the Packers at +3 and a
okay,
half versus
yeah,
the Lions.
this is the one that we talked about. This is more about
Hmm.
I don't feel good about it, but this is more about opportunity. If Jordan Love turns out to be healthy and I get +3.5 at home, why not? Maybe they lose by a field goal. So what? That's still a win for me. And we saw it last week with Puka Nacua. Nobody knew he was going to play. And then he plays and he plays healthy and he looks fine. So things happen like that. A lot of mind games when it comes to injury report.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Gilbert, too. Is like we're giving you guys our picks on a Thursday and stuff changes.
Hmm.
I know we did it for House of Horns, and then like you said, next thing you know, Puka Nakua ends up playing. So that's just the way it goes. And then
Or
at
gets
three and
hurt
a half, I
after.
really like. That's why when I saw it at 2.5, that's why I went with the Lions. I was like, I'm like, you can cover there with 3 points, but you
Yeah.
should be good. All right. No, your number three is Falcons -2.5.
Yeah, I want to say this was -3 not too long ago, and this is good for me. But I'm thinking a lot of people are taking the Cowboys here, which this is maybe why the line went back down on -2.5. I don't get it. This team is not good. They're not even to the point where they're like, okay, they're gonna be a good team to make the playoffs, but then flop in the playoffs. They're just not a good team to make the playoffs, and I don't trust them. They got their butts whipped by the 49ers. I know that always happens, but uh, I don't know. I know it wasn't that long ago when the Seahawks beat the Falcons at home, but if it becomes a shootout, man, they could easily win by 3 points here. They might get Michael Parsons back. I get that, but
Yeah, he's supposed to play. That's what I was gonna say. I wonder if that's why it changed. And
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Laurent Blanc is gonna play, so they
Yeah.
get their number two corner too.
Yeah, I could definitely see a lot of sharps taking the Cowboys because again, this team lost to the Seahawks at home not too long ago. But I'm done with the Cowboys. Give me the Falcons here. I think they have an offense to have a fun game here for in terms of track meet, and they have enough firepower to outpace them.
Yeah, and then the your number two. I guess you think the did you
Yeah.
see the savior comment from Derek Carr? It was so
Oh,
awkward.
yeah. I didn't hear him say it, but when I read it, I'm like, somebody's asking this guy to be a savior. Get out of here! Or did he bring
Yeah,
that up
I
himself? Like,
don't
because if he did it himself, that'd be a little weird. I know he's also a big.
like. I'm not a savior. There's
He's
only one savior, and I'm
he,
just you guys know who that is, and I'm
I know
just like,
I know he's like a pastor at a church, so
yeah.
I knew where he was going with that one there. But I get it. The Panthers stink. They're probably the worst team in the NFL, but the Saints stink too. And
Yeah.
I don't care that Derek Carr is coming back. They're gonna be in Carolina. Yeah, I think Derek Carr could maybe lead the Saints to a victory and snap that 5-game losing streak. But can they beat the lowly Panthers by 7? I don't know. So I'll take the points here. I know the Panthers have held me a lot as plus as an underdog here, but the Saints are not good. They don't have a good defense. The offensive line hasn't been that good. I know my guy Fuaga hasn't been playing that well either. So yeah, I know they have no Shaheed either. So, what if Derek Carr is rusty too? So, and one more point here where I might be reaching Victor, but it's the final game before the trade deadline, and all these Panthers players want to showcase themselves. Okay,
Oh
trade
yeah.
for trade for me. I want to go to that playoff team, or hey, don't trade me because I want to stay in Carolina for a second contract. So this is all these guys got to prove themselves here either way for a second contract in Carolina or to be traded to a contender. So maybe they ball out in this game here. I'm just taking a chance here.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I mean, we've seen a lot of these over 7 games. Kind of, we saw the Browns last week, so you never know. I mean, you got to take a chance with some of these. Sometimes it's going to be a week of upsets. You just never know. And like I said, that's why I don't laugh at people whenever they say, "Hey, I'm going to take a chance here," because you never know. And then your last one here is
Mm,
+9 against the
yeah.
Broncos +9 versus the Ravens.
I was gonna make this one higher, Victor, but I saw that you had it, but you got
Yeah,
+8, and I don't want to
yeah,
feel like I'm taking advantage here. So I'm like, you know what? I got +9 when I saw it. I'm not cheating here, but just
yeah,
to make myself feel a little better and not feel like I'm pulling a fast one, I made it my number one.
yeah.
Because I got one more point here. Maybe we both cover, and this doesn't matter. But I get the Ravens are going to be pissed off after losing to the Browns, but I could see the Broncos covering here. I don't know. I've
Yeah,
bet
and
it.
then
Go ahead.
yeah, and then you have a really good defense here. Like, I don't understand why this game is so high.
Yeah,
Like I get the Broncos offense sucks. It's not great, but the Broncos defense is legit. Like we have enough, games now to know that that's a fact. And I'm
yeah,
sorry, but the Ravens defense hasn't,
yeah.
been good. I'm
They
sorry.
can't
I just
stop.
don't understand this one.
Yeah, the Ravens are gonna win. I
Yes.
see your comments, Jorge and Athir, but I say the Broncos lose with pride and they'll cover here.
Yeah, even Jorge says Gilbert's taking the spread. I like the spread. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm with you. Yeah, we're not saying the Ravens are gonna win this game. We're
Yeah.
just, yeah, we
By the
just,
way, Jorge, I did pick the Panthers to win straight up, so
yeah,
I don't know if, how foolish I am there.
yeah. And Atir says my fantasy comment. Everyone wanted me to give up on Herbert. Who is laughing now, Gilbert? I
Ye
mean,
yeah,
they changed the offense
yeah.
after the bye.
He's playing better, and also I also wonder how many people are actually taking notice that Bo Nix is a pretty good fantasy quarterback. I don't
Oh yeah,
is anybody playing the guy?
he's a top 5 fantasy
Yeah, is
quarterback
he on the
right now.
wire for our league? Because I don't see
Yes.
anybody playing this guy, so
No,
nobody believes in him, but he's actually
no,
doing well. So same thing with
yeah.
Herbert, he's doing well too. So yeah.
Well, his defense is putting him in good position, so he's
Mhm.
able to score points for in fantasy. That's just the way it works. I mean,
I did not see that
I
coming, but
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, I have Joe Burrow. I'm not gonna drop Joe Burrow to go pick up Bo Nix. Jorge, he's this one. Did we do this one? He said one more, guys. I'm in a PPR. Should I start Cooper Cup at my flex, or am I running, or one of my
No.
running backs, Dobbins, Chubb, Taylor, or Montgomery?
Okay, now he is
Yeah,
definitely
he's just
trolling.
flexing.
Yeah, come on, get out of here. Yeah, put in one of your A list running backs in there.
I
Why
love I love these guys. This is Ravens 42-10, and then Jorge Ravens 78, Broncos
Yeah,
12.
let's run it back 70-20 again, and why not?
Yeah. All right, let's go over to mine now. And then my number 5, Gilbert, is the Bills and Dolphins over 49.
I like it.
Both of these defenses aren't great, and so and we've seen both of these games last season. I think went over 50 points, or actually, except for the last one, I think, because the last one was the playoff game and it was in the snow. That was the only one that didn't. No, because I'm sorry, that's not the truth, because the Dolphins played the Chiefs in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think
So
you're thinking
yeah,
about the Skylar Thompson game.
yeah. So both of these games went over 50 last season. They're going to be able Tua's going to be able to move the ball on this Bills team, and then the Bills are going to be able to do that. And I this is going to be a big Shakir a game, Gilbert. I saw a stat today. Let me give it to you, and it has to do with Shakir. Let me find it real quick. And this was from Shio Kapadia of The Ringer, which I thought Josh Allen, when targeting Khalil Shakir this year, he's 36 of 38 for 421 yards,
Mm.
completing 94% of his passes and averaging 11.1 uh, yards per attempt when targeting Shakir. So yeah, if you have Khalil Shakir, expect a big game in this game from Josh Allen and Shakir. So yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, this is going to be over 50 here. My number 4 is the Broncos, as we said, +8. I saw it at +8. I'm with you. As we talked about, we already went over this one. All right, guy. All right, Charger fans, here we go. I'm rolling the dice on the Chargers for a third straight game. They got me my points last week, so I'm going back to the well here. The Chargers are -1.5 versus the Browns. I'm taking the Chargers here. If Herbert continues to move the ball the way he is, I just don't see the Browns being able to. I just don't see them, especially with all the injuries, being able to stop this offense. It's gonna be kind of a wonky game, I feel like, but the Browns just have a bunch of injuries on defense, and I just don't expect Jameis Winston to do it again against a really good Chargers defense. The Browns offensive line is beat up as well. So we'll see if Jameis Winston proves me wrong. We'll see. And then I wanted to get to some of these comments from a deer that
Real quick, Athir and Jorge might have watched What's Up Boats, and they probably saw that I picked the Browns this week. So I do not agree with you, Victor. But
okay, all right.
they're gonna be annoyed with me. But yeah, I got to see a little more from the Chargers. But I get what you're saying though.
Yeah, so I'm just going back to the well. So Tier's comment says, "I have this to say, Gilbert. I love what you said 3 weeks ago. Yes, we want to win. However, you don't have the roster to compete for the Super. Hold on to your money and picks. Wait till the off season." So he's going. He's saying he's
Is he
giving you
back in?
props there.
Okay,
Yeah, and
okay,
then
okay.
as a Chargers fans, we have to learn that learn from anything the last 10 years with Telesco. So
Yeah.
yeah, so he just wanted to give you credit for that.
All
So
right. All
there
right.
you go.
I think they're on a good path there. I obviously they still are ways away for a Super Bowl, but a deer, I like the plan.
Yeah, and then Jorge, he's just kind of going out. He's like, I'm for real. My teams are 3-5. I think
Uh,
you have the same record as Gil right now
yeah,
in our
no,
league.
he's still better than I am. So a lot of people are Jorge. So
Yeah.
yeah, don't feel too bad.
Yeah, and Brett Garner says Chargers have to find a way to get pressure on Winston
Hmm.
with Bosa out. The pressures are Mac and nothing else. So,
I'm not gonna
well,
lie to you, Victor. I felt better, but I made this pick like Monday night, and then with all these injuries that you brought up today, I'm like, crap, I should have gone with the Chargers. So hey,
yeah,
if the Chargers win, or I guess if the Chargers win, they're gonna thank the Gilberto curse because I picked the Browns. So we'll see. It could be a good week for Dan.
yeah, there you go. We'll see. And on Luna's Live, I'm sure a lot of these guys will get on you. So, my number two is Lions -2.5 versus the Packers. We talked about this game
Hmm.
already as to why I like the Lions in this game. And then my last one, Gilbert, you talked about the Colts. Well, I'm going to talk about the Raiders at +7. They've been able to cover. I
Yeah.
can't. I'm sorry, but if they continue to cover as I talked about with the Bengals, I have no faith in none of these two teams. I think it'll be a close game. Joe Burrow pulls it out at the last second with the McPherson field goal, and they win. And the Bengals feel good about themselves. And then the Raiders continue to tank, and Antonio Pierce continues to look good because at least he's keeping his team competitive and while tanking.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. You know, last week I thought the Chiefs are gonna cover the -10. I got a stupid backdoor cover from the Raiders.
Yep.
They were up 14 points, but like a couple minutes ago, and they kind of just said, "Go ahead and score, whatever." I was so furious, but hey, if the Raiders are gonna play to the final whistle, then that's how you usually cover these big spreads.
Yeah, and I'm not saying they're gonna win. I'm just saying they're gonna
Hmm.
cover somehow. They've been doing so for the past 3 weeks. I don't see, like I said, and now with Jacoby Myers back, at least that offense gets a little
Yeah.
bit of a
Then the
jolt.
Bengals are
And
not even good anyway, so I don't
yeah,
blame you.
exactly. Yeah, just yeah. All right, Gilbert, we're going to go now to finish up the show here. Quick dump offs. We're going to pick the rest of the games. Let's start off with New England at Tennessee. Perhaps one of the worst games. Probably vying here for
And
the number one
mankind.
pick. The Titans are 3.5 point favorites at home. The over under is 38.
I don't care that the Titans are at home. You will not catch me supporting the Titans. I like especially at -3.5. You think this team could beat anybody by more than 3 points? Get out of here. Give me Gerard Mayo's not soft Patriots. So I'll take the Patriots here. I just don't like any. I have two rules, and I'm gonna break one this week because I don't pick the Jaguars, but I picked up for my pick 'em. But usually, don't bet on the Titans. Don't bet on the Jaguars. They find a way to screw you over, and I'm gonna go with the Patriots here in terms of betting.
Yeah, I'm going with the Titans. They play better at home. They have the better defense. Uh, if we'll see. I mean, hopefully it's not Will Levis and he screws me. So we'll see. But we have some comment. We have some new commenters on here.
Okay,
We have Ezzy Charger 619. He says, "I love the Chargers. Dude, been a fan since '04.
there you
True
go.
Breeze Day." So that's awesome. Good to have you along.
Thank you.
Hit that subscribe button. Good to have you.
Did
We
Dan
get
and Diego send you guys over? I like it. More Chargers fan in the chat. I like
Yes. Uh, Jorge says Brock Bowers versus that Bengals defense. Yeah, that's gonna be. Jorge says take the
Yeah,
spread with the mayo.
nice one.
uh, and then I think Thier, he's just tired of seeing the Rams house. He just doesn't want to be at SoFi anymore. It sounds like.
Uh, uh.
Uh,
Well, maybe you have this new Pistons owner throw some money and find a new football stadium for Chargers fans. That'd be pretty cool, like the Steve Ballmer did for the Clippers.
yeah, right next door or something. All right. One game we've already talked about at House of Horns, but we didn't talk about it here. The Rams are 1 point favorites. Gilbert, when we talked, when I first saw this line earlier in the
Wow.
week, I think it was at 2.5
Hmm.
Rams, and it's gone down. It's been betted down to 1,
Yeah.
and now the
Wow.
over under is 48. I think it was 49.5 when it first started. So
Mm,
it's starting to get bet down. So
maybe
uh,
people listen to you on House of Horns, and you told people, "Hey, this team is not good on the road." So maybe people are worried, and they're trying
yeah.
to take the Seahawks a little more here.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot I don't like about the Seahawks either, but yeah, it's just one of those weird games. I mean, we've seen Sean McVay have be dominant against Pete Carroll, but Pete Carroll's no longer there. I want to see what this team can do. I want to see them play well for once on the road. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But where do you see this game? What do you got? What do you
Yeah,
got in this
I'll
game?
I'll be quick. I don't. I think the Seahawks are frauds. Give me the Rams. You know what? It's a Puka Nakua factor. That's probably where it went down. Damn it. So, but even without Puka, I think they'll find a way to even if it doesn't play. We'll see. We don't know yet. It's only late Thursday night here. But with Cooper Cup, Kyron Williams, I think they find a way to take this one here. But yeah, I get why maybe this line went down a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, no, I'm taking the Rams in this game. We both picked it on House
Hmm.
of Horns, and but I'm just a little concerned here, just because, like I said, you have those weird games here, especially it's a divisional game. So, and then Athir says, "No, I love SoFi. I just want to change it to a Chargers house." So
I see
there you
another
go.
comment from
Yeah, yes.
King. Yeah, I
Yes,
like that one.
King RI says,
King
"If
Rai.
we beat the Browns, I want the Chargers to go out and get Nick Chubbs so we can see Chubbs Dobbins duel. If the Bengals lose, I want the Chargers to use Palmer in a trade for Higgins. That's the only 2 players."
That's interesting, the whole Nick Chubb factor, because yeah, this team should be trading their player. They should be looking for the future. Or maybe they can't get out of the Deshaun Watson contract, but you are probably going to get a top 5 pick. You draft a quarterback with that. Maybe you have Deshaun Watson be the bridge to the rookie, but you got to start looking for the future. Do you really think Nick Chubb's going to be around? Like, and I know he's been the heart and soul, but maybe you could flip him for a pick. So I would love to see that. And I want to shout out Fernando, because Fernando said that J.K. Dobbins, even though we kind of view him more of like a physical running back, he's more of a home run guy. He likes to hit the
Mhm.
hole and try to find that big game. Whereas Chubb is more about getting that first down, moving the chains. So maybe you get that. And I know he mentioned that Gus Edwards being hurt has really hurt J.K. Dobbins. But hey, you get Chubb and Dobbins, that'd be pretty nice. So I like that from is it
Yeah, they need a
King Rye?
bruiser. They
Yeah,
need someone that can run between the tackles, and he's right. Dobbins is more of a guy that and which was weird because I thought he was the opposite,
me
but
too.
yeah, that is a good observation by Fernando there. All right, Gilbert, 2 more to go here, and we'll close out. Jacksonville Jaguars at the Philadelphia Eagles -7.5. The over under is 45.5.
I just want to make it clear, I would never put money on the Jaguars. I think they're gonna screw me over, but because I like to have fun with my SI Pick'em challenge, and I'm not doing well right now. I pick a lot of upsets, and that's starting to screw me over, and I can't even get the right upsets. Whatever. The point is, when the Browns beat the Ravens, it gave me kind of new life. Like, okay, cool, upsets are still happening in the NFL. Let me get a little ridiculous and wild here, and I chose the Jaguars to beat the Eagles, but I would not be surprised if the Eagles cover and beat the Jaguars. They just traded Cam Robinson. They lost Christian Kirk. But just because I'm gonna stick to my bet here, and I know 7.5 points is a big spread in the NFL, I'll take the Jaguars plus 7.5. And I don't feel
Yeah.
good about it. I think the Eagles might win this game here. But if the Jaguars win, I'm gonna look like a genius like come Monday.
I'm gonna go I'm with you here. I'm gonna go with the Jaguars to
Wow.
cover here.
Okay. All right. I'm not
And the
lonely
only
on
reason
this
I'm
on the
doing
stupid
this,
train.
Gilbert, is because every time I pick the Eagles and I finally believe in them, they shit the bed. And I don't I'm whenever I keep picking against them, they go out there and
Yeah.
they put a pounding on the Bengals. So
Did
I'll
you
just
pick the
to
Bengals last week? You picked the Bengals
yeah,
last
I
week?
picked the Bengals, and
Yeah, I did
and the
too. We
week
got
before
burned.
that, I think I picked whoever they were playing. I forget who they beat, but they've won, I think, 3 in a row now.
Mhm.
And each time I picked against them just because I'm done believing in them, and so I'm gonna go with the Jaguars here just because of that. And Jorge says he's taking the Jack straight up and as the upset of the
Thank
year.
you,
So
Jorge. I know he's
there,
probably trolling me and looking at my pick.
yeah.
I like that you're joining me on this stupid
All
train.
right, last one is on Monday Night Football. I can't believe we, didn't highlight this one earlier and we're leaving it for last, but it's the Tampa Bay
Yeah.
Buccaneers at the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are 8.5-point favorites. I'll tell you right now, take the Bucks, man. It seems
We're,
like have the Chiefs covered at all outside
uh,
of the 49er? No, right? Like,
I'm trying to think. Who did they play last week? Oh yeah, they didn't cover. Yeah,
yeah,
I don't know, man. These Buccaneers are starting to fade very quickly. Yeah, I'm gonna go back, Victor. I'm gonna take the Chiefs in the minus 8.5. It's just I don't know. They don't have any wide receivers, and you just
true.
mentioned there's a storm coming, and they don't know how to play in that. Or I guess they're from Tampa Bay. Maybe they do.
Yeah.
Is it a
They
hurricane? I
just
don't.
went through a
I
hurricane,
was gonna
Gilbert.
say, but when the hurricane came through, they were in New Orleans. They played indoors, and they won
True.
that game. I don't know. I just don't like Todd Bowles' defense. If this was 2 weeks ago, Victor, if we were
Yeah.
talking 2 weeks ago before Godwin and Evans got hurt, I would have said, yeah, for sure, give me the plus
Yeah.
8. They were one of my teams where I liked whenever they got plus points. So I know it's a maybe a cardinal sin to do take a line this big, but I'll take the Chiefs here. But you're probably gonna be right, Vic.
Yeah, I'm taking the Buccaneers here. Like, look, the Chiefs are still gonna win, but I
Mhm.
just yeah, like the Chiefs haven't been able to cover. Every time people are like they see that big number with the Chiefs, everybody bets on them, and then they don't end up covering. I'm not falling for it. So and like
All
I
right.
said, there might be a storm, and it might rain down there, and who knows. But yeah, that was a good show. We kept it right about an hour, Gilbert. But yeah, week 9 in the books. We're halfway through the season now, Gilbert. I mean,
Yeah.
it's gone by pretty fast.
Yeah, no, it's I guess once these games are completed, we're technically done with the season, half or at least halfway done with the season. Yeah, and thank you everybody for staying up late on Halloween, and maybe you had a fun earlier of trick or treating or not. And before I leave, I want to say sorry, no, not cotton candy. Candy corn is the worst candy in the whole universe. I saw candy corn being dropped during the Amazon Prime Thursday Night Football broadcast, and I said, "Yuck, disgusting." But yeah, good time, good Halloween episode. The Jets annoyed me, but it was fun talking with a deer,
He
Jorge,
wants you to know
Nino.
that Herbert will have his best team he's ever had next year. He
All
promises.
right, I will. I'm not gonna doubt you, and I'm gonna go back to this comment and say, a deer, you were right. But I appreciate you guys being on, Brett, Nino. I see Combos on the beat. Shout out to you. And who else do we have here? We had King Rye, and let's
Brett
see.
Gardner.
Red Garner SD Charger 619. So we appreciate everybody who jumped on.
Yeah, it's awesome, Nino. It's awesome to see people. It continues to get better and better, but awesome to see some familiar faces and some familiar names and some new names on here. So awesome! Thank
Hey,
you guys. And then
Jorge, you're spot on. Tootsie
yes,
Rolls are the worst. So if I see Tootsie Rolls or candy corn or even like the mint candies, get them out of
just
my
give
trick.
people chocolates, man.
Yeah, let's move
Honestly,
on. Just
yes,
don't make it an almond joy. I can
yeah.
have I can have a long list here, but yeah, Tootsie Rolls. All these candies that were popular in 1942, I don't want them.
Yeah, I was watching a episode of Bob's Burgers, and they were giving out Boston peanuts, and I was just laughing. Uh,
Did you see that Jimmy Pesto was at
oh
the
yes,
January 6th
oh yes,
takeover? So yeah,
and Megan was work with him a month before they did a film together.
really.
Yes, and like 30 days later, he's at the January 6th thing.
Yeah, when I saw that, I'm like, it had to be Jimmy Pesto. But yeah, I like that
Yes,
show. But yeah,
yeah,
wow, interesting. Good thing that I brought it up. That's a good nugget there.
yeah. He's your guy's favorite candy.
I'm definitely a big Twix guy. Kit Kats. I don't mind Snickers every now and then. But hot take. I think I told you guys this last year. I don't like Reese's Pieces peanut butter cups. That's not my thing.
Yeah, that's what I have here. Our Reese's cups. We bought a caramel one. I guess they brought out a new one. They wasn't as good.
Oh,
But yeah, Snickers. I can roll with that. And then any Mexican candy, man.
oh
You
yeah,
can't go
yeah.
wrong with Mexican
It,
candy.
it's just it's risky because your stomach's gonna hurt the
Oh
next
yeah,
day. Yeah. So, but you'll enjoy it for like 30 minutes, and then you'll regret it instantly.
Jorge says, when I was a kid, some dude was giving out. Yes,
Oh,
I
come
had this
on.
happen too. It was like
Jesus.
little boxes. I'm like, who gives these
I would
out?
have called the cops on that guy. That's a serial killer for sure. If you're giving me fruit or a pencil or a sticker and Tootsie Rolls and candy corn, we're calling the cops on you. You have
Yeah.
issues. But
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's how like I remember kids would it was funny because I went on a walk earlier today and I was looking at people, doing their trick or treat, and there was a lot of older teenagers trick or treating this year, in which I was kind of surprised. I thought, after you're like 12 you're done, but yeah, I saw a lot of teenagers out there trick or treating, which I didn't think was a thing anymore.
Yeah, I'm not ready to announce my big news yet, Victor, but you know that I'm gonna have to care about trick or treating pretty soon in the future.
Mhm.
But yeah, so it's a good time to have a good Halloween episode. I was actually genuinely curious to see how many people are going to be on here on Halloween, but a lot of people jumped on, so I really appreciate that. To bash some of these terrible candies that we have on here.
He says, King says, for a person who don't like candy corn, we see a bag of candy corn behind the picture buckle. Yeah,
Where
you can.
candy corn?
I
Where?
I don't know. I don't see a bag. I don't.
No, no, definitely no. But
Maybe that bag right there. Maybe he thinks your
King,
credentials are a bag. I don't
You're
know.
right. I did have a bunch of candies in my pocket, but I already ate them all. So all these wrappers, there's a Snickers right here, but
Yeah,
no.
he said he made you look. So there we
I
go.
got Twix right here. So
Yeah.
now you just outed me that I shouldn't call myself a fat ass, but there you go.
Yeah.
That's what I am. But no, it's just credentials out there. But
He's,
yes.
Jorge remembers your cat. So
Oh yeah, my weird cat is somewhere around here. But yes, maybe after this stream here, I'm gonna go watch a scary movie and pet my hairless cat. There you go.
there you go. All
But
right,
yeah,
Gilbert.
not a candy
That
corn
does
guy.
it for our week 9 preview of all the games. Hopefully, people people don't yeah, don't do anything dumb. Make sure you don't. I remember too. They were, in terms of the candy. I know there were people were saying to be careful because they were putting needles. So make sure you check your candy, guys.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah, and Athir says he wants a compost bottle. We got to make more merch in the future.
yes.
Shout out to
Or,
Athir.
shout out to
And,
you.
don't do drugs. Yes, it depends
Yes.
what kind, but other than
Yes.
that, yeah. But all right, guys, we got to get going here. I had Victor on here pretty late. Thank you guys for jumping on. You made me look king right here, so yeah, that's my bad here. I'm gonna go eat more candy now. It's time to get going here. I have my TV on. There's a concert going on Amazon Prime. I
Yeah,
don't know what's on
you know what's next though, right, Gilbert?
Prime.
You is you're it's the best time of the year.
Oh no, that's where I get
Yeah,
grumpy.
Christmas music
I
starting tomorrow, man.
Get out of here. No, we're gonna talk about this. My rule is not until after Thanksgiving, but let's enjoy
Yes.
Halloween. It's here on the West Coast. We still got another an hour and some change too before we.
I'm guarantee you, Gilbert, you're gonna hear
Oh
Christmas
man.
music tomorrow, man.
All right, Mariah Carey, bring it on. But
Yes.
all right, let's get out of here,
Yes.
fellas. Thank you. Enjoy the night. We'll see you guys soon. Enjoy Week 9. We'll see if the Chargers pull it out in Cleveland. If you're a Rams fan, the Rams are in Seattle. And get used to Aaron Rodgers talking about more peppers and the Fountain of Youth because they won tonight. But on that note, ya nos vamos. Pues vámonos.